are in the QBO gym, and this is where we have numerous hands-on exercises that simulate real-life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. Each month covers a variety of new topics and scenarios, and to make it a little bit easier for you, we break it down into 4 different sections. So if you are looking to work on your bookkeeping skills, this is the place for you. And if you want to do an entire month's worth of these all on your own, be sure to join our free 5-day bookkeeping challenge. All you need to do is click on the link in the description. But let's go ahead and get into today's exercise, which is being pulled from our September Year 1 Cool Down section. At the top here is an animated video to give you an understanding of what you, the bookkeeper, will be doing for your client, Craig, this month. Below that is an interactive pre-assessment quiz that relates to the video up above. Under that are all of the exercises in this section. And at the bottom here is an optional area where after you have gone through all of the exercises in this section and completed them, you will unlock some sample marketing posts that you can use on your LinkedIn to share with everyone what you have learned so far. So let's dive into today's exercise where we are going to practice reconciling the checking and savings accounts. Go ahead and click on that link to have the exercise come up for you. I have it here on the right side of my screen, so let's read through the scenario. As a bookkeeper, your primary responsibility is to ensure that all financial transactions are correctly categorized and match the flow of money into and out of the bank. You have just received the monthly statement from Craig's bank. Now it's time to confirm that all the transactions have been correctly added to and categorized in QuickBooks Online. Now, you will need to be in the sample company to do this exercise. If you are not sure how to get into the sample company or get your own free QBOA account, be sure to click on the link in the description. I have the sample company here on the left side of my screen. This is this is the dashboard and what it will look like when you sign in. Now, as a note here, you will need to keep this session of the sample company open for the next this exercise and the next one. They build on each other, so it's important to stay in that same session. Now, to complete this exercise, you will need a copy of Craig's bank statement. You want to click on the link beneath the cool down video to grab a copy of the statement that includes both his checking and his savings account. Please note that the statement has 2 pages, so you'll need to look at the second page when reconciling the account. So if I go back here to the gym and I scroll back up, here is that animated video. Below that is a button that says Checking and Savings Statement. Go ahead and click on that to download that statement. And then when you open it up, this is what it will look like. So we have the first page here, and then we have a second page as well. So it's the checking account, it looks like, that starts here in the beginning and continues all the way through. And then we have our savings account as well. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the checking account. We're going to use this downloaded, as I mentioned, checking account statement for this section of the exercise. So to start reconciling, we need to click on the gear icon and then select Reconcile. The gear icon in the sample company is on the top right corner of the screen. Click on that. And then under Tools, you will see Reconcile. Go ahead and select that. Now, QBO will have 2 pop-ups that will show up if you haven't reconciled in this session of the sample company, or really for your first time reconciling ever. So in your client books. So if you get this little pop-up, just go ahead and click on Get Started. And then this Let's Get Reconciled. It's just extra informational or extra information from QuickBooks about what this area is about. So let's take a look at the checking account statement for the ending balance. If we go here at the top, there's all this account summary. Here we see the ending balance is $4,682.02. So in this field, the statement ending balance field, go ahead and type that. That's 4682.02. We don't need to change this account field since it's already saying checking, which is what we want. And then we need to fill out this statement ending date field. Now, in a real life scenario, you would use the ending date that is here on the statement. However, because the dates in the sample company are always changing, we're just going to use today's date in the statement ending date field by typing in a lowercase t. So it's a little shortcut here. Just click into it, go ahead and type a lowercase t, and it will show up here today's date for you. And your date may be different depending on when you are doing this exercise. Now you may have noticed here that there was this little pop-up that came up. I think this might be just a glitch in the sample company because I've seen it over and over again, but I don't know why it appears and how it affects anything because I haven't seen it happen that way. So anyways, just to go ahead and ignore it. We are going to start reconciling by clicking on Start Reconciling. So click on that green button right there. And now we have the reconciliation screen for the checking account. If you happen to get any pop-ups, just go ahead and click out of them. Just QBO trying to give you extra information about this area. Now, before moving on to reconciling, let's take a minute to review what you're looking at on this screen, because especially if this is your first time ever reconciling, it may seem a little overwhelming. So let's break this down step by step. The beginning balance, which is right here, is the ending balance from the last time you reconciled. It cannot be changed. It's how it is. The statement ending balance here is the balance that is the balance from the bank statement that we just entered on that previous screen. So that's 468202. If you discover for whatever reason that you have entered the wrong ending balance, or the statement date is incorrect, which is showing up here, you can always click on this Edit Info button to make the change. Now, next to each transaction is a circle. I am going to scroll over so you can see what I'm talking about. Here are all of the transactions, and then on the right-hand side are these little circles. They will have a blue check mark if the transaction has already been marked cleared, kind of similar to how we process the bank feeds. Now, when a transaction is checked, meaning that we found the transaction here, a matching one here on this screen, you will click on the check mark and then it will be added to the total payments and deposits, which is found up here. So for an example, if I just click on this first one, you will see that that 300 has moved up into that payment area. If you just did that, go ahead and unclick it. We want to have a fresh slate so that it says 0 and 0. Now, the cleared balance right here is the beginning balance minus the payments and deposits. So the beginning balance minus the combo of the payments and deposits is the cleared balance. This difference over here, this is the statement ending balance minus the cleared balance. So this one minus this one equals the difference. The goal of reconciling is to check off transactions until this difference is 0. Once you do that, you will know that everything that is from the bank statement is correctly matching with something in QuickBooks Online. And it's very satisfying as a bookkeeper to know that everything is perfectly reconciled. Now, one final thing here, you'll note that the transactions currently showing are only those that are dated on or before that statement ending date, which in this exercise's case is today's date. So you can turn off this filter, which is showing right here, by just clicking on this X. And you may need to do this if you have transactions that were added with an incorrect date. These are often referred to hidden or rogue transactions. So let's say you're reconciling, the bank statement here, and you see something that's on there that's not showing up here. It may have had a date that was later than the ending balance from the statement. And so you would want to turn off that filter so you could see everything and see if maybe it's there, and then you just need to make a change. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with reconciling. We are going to start with deposits. So let's click on that deposits tab that is right there. And what it will do is just simplify this screen for us so that now we are only going to see the deposits here. Now we're going to look at each deposit or credit on the checking account statement. Next to each matching deposit amount, we're going to click on the adjacent circle. So let's go ahead and take a look here. Now, the reason that we may want to have just the deposit showing is if the bank statement is set up the way this one is, where it has it broken out by deposits and then withdraws and then other things as well. So for this instance, it just makes it a little bit easier for us. So let's go ahead and see if we can find all of the matches. So Bill's Win Surf Shop for 175. Let's see, that is the top one right here. Click on that circle. Then we have Freeman Sporting Goods for 86.40. And here, that's the next one listed there. We have a deposit for $225. So let's go ahead and look at that. That looks like from Kate Whalen. So make sure that we have that. Then we have Amy's Bird Sanctuary for $105. That happens to be the next one down here. So go ahead and click on that link or that circle. Another one for Cool Cars for $694. So let's go ahead and click on that. It happens to be the next one on that list. And then we have a deposit for $337.50. That happens to be the next one that is showing here on this list. And then we have one for $218.75. So that happens to be this next one right here. So go ahead and click on that. Then we have one for $520, another deposit. I am not seeing that one right now, so let's come back to that one in a moment and look at the other one, which is showing us a deposit of $756.15. And I don't see that one as well. All right, so we've gone through all of the other deposits. The two incorrect deposits, though, that we made were made, very close together. You can see that by the date. And just know that your dates may be different than what you see on my screen. Notice that if you add the amounts on the statement for these two deposits, this 520 plus this $756.15 equals $1,276.15. And if you add the two amounts of these two here, you will also get that same amount. So if you select the two transactions, the total deposit will match the statement. So what does this situation imply? Well, each of these deposits is comprised of multiple checks. So we're going to take a closer look at each one to see what's going on. And you can tell that it has multiple checks because it says split right here. So let's go ahead and click on the line for 408, and then we are going to click on Edit to see this deposit transaction. Now, when it comes up here, you will see that two checks were noted as deposited, one for Amy for $108 and then one for John for $300. So just keep that in mind as we're going through and looking at the other one. So we have the one for 108 and the other one for 300. Go ahead and click on the down arrow and then select Save and Close so we can get out of this. And now let's take a closer look at the other deposit to see which checks are included on that one. Now, if you get pop-ups like this, just go ahead and click out of them. And if you got back to this screen where it's showing all of them, just go ahead and click on deposits first. So let's click on the one for $868.15 and then click on edit to have that transaction pull up for you. Now, this deposit has 5 checks. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll notice that both deposits have something in common. They both include checks from Amy's Bird Sanctuary. One check was for $108 on that other deposit, and then the other check is for $220 that we have on this one. You realize that these checks were just mistakenly deposited incorrectly in QBO. The first deposit should have included Amy's check for $220 because $220 plus $300 is $520, and $520 is the amount on the bank statement that we see right here. And then since the entire total ends up being the same in the real world, you could probably just select both of these deposits and complete the reconciliation. But for practice, fix the deposits to match the statement. And I missed this part right here, but the second deposit should include Amy's check for $108 from that previous one, plus the other ones that are showing up here, because then they will equal $756.15. So let's fix this. Next to the Amy's Bird Sanctuary one, we are going to click on the check mark from the transaction, or remove the check mark, there we go, from this. So uncheck that one. Go ahead and click on Save and Close. We're going to go back to that 408. Once again, those pop-ups, even though we just keep closing out of them. I'm going to click on deposits once again so that I can get back to this screen. This 408, go ahead and click on that and then click on edit. And then next to the one for Amy's Bird Sanctuary, the $221, we want to click on that checkbox and then uncheck the one for the 108. So we click on this one We uncheck this one, and then we can go ahead and click on Save and Close. You can see the amount is now showing as $520. So click on Save and Close, and go ahead and do the same steps, closing out of those pop-ups, clicking on Deposit. And here we go. You will notice the first deposit amount has now been fixed. It is now matching what is on the statement, that $520. So let's go ahead and fix the second deposit in the same manner. We're going to click on that $648.15 transaction and then click on Edit. And then next to the Amy's Bird Sanctuary transaction, we're going to click on the checkbox. And you'll notice that as soon as we do, it has changed it now to $756.15, which is exactly what the deposit was here on the bank statement. So let's go ahead and click on Save and Close. And now we can go ahead and click on the circles next to the 520 and the 756. So go ahead and click on both of those. And the deposits are all set now. So now we can continue on to handle the payments. So we are going to use the statement to address the payments. Let's go ahead and click on that Payments tab so that we can just look at those. And we're going to examine each withdrawal debit on the checking account statement. Note that this statement organizes them by type. So all the checks are together, all the ATM transactions are together, and all the other withdrawals are together. For statements like this one, it's often easiest to start with checks. So let's go ahead and group this. We're going to click on the type at the top to group them by type. So click on that. And now it will group them all by type. If we scroll down, we will see all of these checks. So to the right of each transaction on the statement, we're going to click on the circle next to it. So let's go ahead and take a look here. We have, if you scroll down on the second page, you can see the checks. We have check number 4 for $54.55. So check number 4 is the last one here for $54.55. So click on that circle. Then we have check number 12 for $55. So let's go ahead and click on that. That happens to be this one, and 55. So click on that. We have check number 5 for $62.01. So here we go. Check number 5, $62.01. Click on that circle next to it. Then we have check number 70 for $237.14. So check number 70 is quite different than what we have on the statement. So let's hold off on that one for a moment and come back to it. We have check number 2 for $18.08. So let's see, check number 2, $18.08. Go ahead and click on that circle. And then finally, we have check number 75 for $228.75. So check 75, $228.75, click on that. And now we've completed the reconciliation for all of them except for that one. That check 70 doesn't match the amount on the statement. It's a significant difference too, a $52.14 difference. And it doesn't seem like it would be a simple typo. The bank is always right, and in a real life scenario, you would likely actually have a digital copy of the return check to look at to confirm, excuse me. So you are going to edit the amount to match the statement. Make a note of the difference between the two amounts, that $52.14, since you'll have to investigate this much later. So let's go ahead and click on check 70. Click on that. And then in the payment field right here, we're going to adjust it to say $237.14 as we see here on the bank statement. So go ahead and delete what is currently there. And then go ahead and change that to $237.14. Go ahead and click on the green Save button. And now that one has been done. And you need to make sure that you click on that circle. All right, so now that the checks are done, take a look at the rest of the payments. It will be easier to find them in date order. So let's go ahead and click on date at the top to sort the transactions chronologically. That is up here on the left side of that table. Click on that, and now they are all in, I was about to say alphabetical order, in date order. There we go. So to the right of each withdrawal on the statement, we're going to click on the circle next to it. All right, so let's go here and scroll back to the top. So we have our withdrawals. Let's go ahead and start with that. The squeaky clean one for $19.99. So let's go ahead and click on that. I see that here. So $19.99. Go ahead and click on it once you find it. Then we have Bob's Burger. We have two of them, $5.66 and then $3.86. So those should be pretty easy to find. Here's that $3.86 one and then $5.66. Then we have another one for Squeaky Clean Car Wash for $19.99. So we did this one, and here's the other one that I see right here. And then we're going to continue on for Chin's Gas and Oil. We have one for $63.15. So let's see where we can find that one. $63.15. Here it is. Click on that circle. And it looks like we've finished all the ones for the ATM and debit section. So let's move on to the other subtractions. So we have one for $300. So let's look at that. I'm going to scroll to the bottom because I think I saw it there. Yep, there's one for $300. Click on that. We have another one for $250. So let's go ahead and click on that one, which is also at the bottom there. We have two tax payments. It looks like one for $38.50 and one for $38.40. So let's go ahead and look for those. Yep, here's those sales tax payments right there. So click on the circle next to each of those. Then we have something for $89.09. So let's go ahead and click on that circle here. That looks like for Tanya's Nursery. Then we have another one for $108.09. So let's look. That's another one for Tanya's Nursery. Go ahead and click on that circle once you find it. Then there's two here for Hicks Hardware, one for $250 and then one for $240.36. So let's look. Here's the one for Hicks Hardware for $250. And the other one was like $240.36, which I am not seeing on here. So let's skip that one and come right back to it. We have one for Hall Properties for $900. So let's go ahead and scroll back to the top because I know that that one is right there. There we go. There's oh wait, hold on. Let me just double check because that one says MasterCard. But if I look here, there is one for Hall Properties. This is why it's really important to make sure that when you are checking off that you are doing it with the right vendor and the right amount. So it's always good to double check. So go ahead and click on that circle next to the Hall Properties $900 one. We have another one for Hicks for $215.66. Here it is right here. Go ahead and click on that circle. Then we have a $75 one. It looks like there's two $75 ones right here. They don't have names associated with them on this particular on the statement, but my guess is that they are probably one's for Pam Sites and one's for Books by Bessie. So since those are the only two that are remaining on here, let's go ahead and click on the circle next to both of those $75 transactions. And then we have one final one for $87.50. So that's for Pies Cakes right here. Go ahead and click on that. And you'll notice here that we have a difference of $240.36, which is matching here on the bank statement, but we don't have that showing here on QBO. So you need to make sure that you have addressed all withdrawals in both the ATM and debit card sections and in the other subtraction section of the statement, which we did. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at this one for this $240.36. If we look here, it looks like there is one for $24.36. So let's go ahead and click on that row because it looks like it may be a simple typo. In the payment field, let's adjust this to $240.36. Go ahead and type that in. And then we're going to click on Save. Now, a typographical error was most likely the reason this transaction did not match the statement, as I just said. So let's go ahead and click on Save. And you will notice here that, oh, I got to click on the circle next to it. Click on the circle. You'll notice now that the difference is 0, which means everything that is on the bank statement is now matching in QBO. Now, before we move on, an important note, remember how we edited check number 70 right here to from $185 to $237 in a previous step. You knew the bank had the amount correct, but it was hard to see where the mistake might have been made. Now that you see the transactions in chronological order, you may have a hint. The next transaction at Chin's Gas and Oil is for $52.14. It was marked as a separate cash transaction, but maybe it was actually included in check number 70. Craig's notes may not have been the clearest. You need to watch next month to see if this transaction ever clears the bank. If not, it most likely was part of check 70 and you would need to make the adjustment. So as I mentioned, you needed to have that circle next to Hicks Hardware checked. And as soon as you did, you will see that your difference is now 0. So congratulations, you have reconciled the checking accounts. Let's go ahead and click on the green Finish Now button. And you will get this pop out here. Now, in a real life scenario, you would have the opportunity to attach your statement. At this point, there would be a button here. We can't do this in the sample company. It's not offered in the sample company, and so that's why there is nothing there. But go ahead and click on the green Done button. And now that checking account has been reconciled. So let's go ahead and look at the savings account next. In the account field, we want to select savings. So click that down arrow, select savings. In the statement ending balance, we want to use what is here on the statement, which is showing an ending balance of $800.02. So let's go ahead and add that there in the statement ending balance field. And then in the statement ending date field, we want to use today's date. So go ahead and click into it, type a lowercase t, and you will get today's date showing up for you. And that little error there, I don't know why it shows up. I think it's just a glitch in the sample company. So anyways, let's go ahead and start reconciling this account by clicking on that green Start Reconciling button. If you happen to get any pop-ups like this, just go ahead and click out of them. All right, so it's pretty simple this month. You only have one transaction here. So at the end of that, go ahead and click on this circle to mark it as reconciled. Now you'll notice that there is interest from the bank statement that still needs to be recorded, that 2 cents. So we can do this easily by creating a bank deposit. Let's click on the plus new button and then select bank deposit. So plus new button is on the top left corner. Click on that. In the other column is bank deposit. Go ahead and click on that. In the account field, we want to select savings. So go ahead and click into that and select savings since that is the account it is for. In the date field, enter the date of the deposit for, you want to use today's date for the purpose of this exercise. So mine already defaults there. You are welcome to do the same thing or to change the date to today's date. Just know that some banks show the exact date of the deposit. If yours does not, though, you can always use the last date of the statement period in this field. So we're going to scroll down to this section, this add funds to this deposit, and in the account field, we want to select interest earned. So go ahead and click into it. I'm actually just going to go ahead and type interest so that it comes up quicker. Once you find it, go ahead and click on it. And then in the amount field, we want to type those 2 cents. So type in 2 cents. And then we can go ahead and click on the green Save and Close button on the bottom left corner. And now that bank deposit has been saved, click out of those pop-ups if you get them. And now you can see that there is a deposit here of the one that we just created. So go ahead and click on that circle. And you'll notice that as soon as you do, the difference now turns to 0, indicating that you have reconciled the savings account successfully. So now you can go ahead and click on the Finish Now button. And once again, you would have the opportunity to attach a statement here at this point. We can't do it here in the sample company, so we are just going to click on the green Done button. And there you go. You have now reconciled the checking and savings accounts. Now, if you like this exercise and you'd like to do more like it, be sure to join our free 5-day bookkeeping challenge. All you need to do is click on the link in the description. We're going to continue on in the cool down section. So if you want to join, be sure to leave this session of the sample company open, as you will need it for the next exercise where we practice reconciling the MasterCard account. And I will see you in the next video.